We're live.
Nice.
This is how we always start this out. Like, I went through all the recordings, and I always start by saying, we're live.
We are.
Okay.
We are.
It's true. We're alive. We are alive, and we're live.
And live.
Yeah, so...
Live and direct.
Hey, everybody. Do you want to know the optimal amount of hours to fast? The perfect eating window and all things intermittent fasting? Stick around, because the answers may surprise you. They may not, or they may.
I want to know.
Curious minds want to know.
Your cat's here on my side here trying to
that's... Hey, if you were here last week, we've made it one whole week in the same household. And my cat is falling in love with Simon.
It happens.
Yeah. He's got a new boyfriend. He's irresistible.
Right?
Welcome everyone to Keto Chat Live, the podcast. I'm your host, Carol Freeman. I expanded my credentials this time. I figured I might as well brag about myself a little bit.
Oh, wow. Tell me.
Master's in Nutrition and Clinical Health Psychology. That's the one I can't point there. Up there, that one. Master's in Nutrition, Clinical Health Psychology, Certified Clinical Hypnotherapist, and Board Certified Ketogenic Nutrition Specialist.
And I'm Simon. I'm good at vacuuming. I can do dishes, load the dishwasher.
The cats love
I'm
him.
a stand-up comedian. My mother says I'm handsome. I don't know. That's all I have.
Look how tan. You've like matched my
thank
tan
God.
in 1 week.
I was white.
That was every week remotely doing the show separately. Every week you're like, you're getting tanner and I'm getting paler.
Yeah, I was so white, people were inviting me to the opera.
Seattle does that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, if you're joining us, please share. Do you do intermittent fasting? How long do you fast? Do you know what it is? Do you even care? We're glad you're here, but I can't tell who's here until you actually comment. So share with us who's here while Simon does the fun part of the show.
Oh yes, that's right. The medical disclaimer, so you don't die. We've set a goal to have nobody die.
So far,
it's a good goal.
So far,
we've only lost 7 people, but other than that, we're trying hardest to not have people die. All right. Medical disclaimer. This show is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not medical advice, nor is it intended to diagnose, treat, cure any conditions. If you have any medical condition, illness, disease, or are taking any medications, please contact your medical professional.
Okay. So one of these times, it might be fun. So some of you may be just listening. You can't see the video. We do this live on YouTube. I think it might be fun. Maybe next time, like you say it and I'll just mouth it. Like it's me saying it, but it's you. Would that be funny?
Say that again.
Basically, I would be like your
like I
dummy.
could put my hand back here and you could be a puppet? Sure. Ventriloquist?
That's really dumb. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We lost all of our followers for that idea. Okay.
Okay. Oh, well.
All right. Well, they're not all winners, folks.
Maybe they were looking for medical advice. I don't know what to tell you.
We're here to provide you with the best keto information possible to maximize your results and do it in a way that hopefully you're entertained and have fun with it too. So tell your friends. Oh, yeah. Here's Sue from Chicago.
Hey, Sue.
We got half the 2 Sue crew here showing up. All right. So
right on.
Welcome. Sue, Susan, do you do any intermittent fasting? What's your window? How long do you do it? How long you been doing it? Do you like it? Do you believe in it?
I do it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. No, I do.
Everyone does, actually. That's the trick of it. We don't eat while we're sleeping, so everyone intermittent fasts. But I'll tell you more about that later.
Okay.
I mean, have you been waking up and eating in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Is that why all the cheese is gone?
Yeah, right. That's funny. Okay,
Well,
so
personal check-in. What's been up with you this last week?
Well, hanging in Phoenix, it was really hot, and we had a lot of fun, and I got a little bit more tan, and we did a lot of comedy this week. We performed at JP's Comedy Club and House of Comedy, and performed in front of the mirror alone in the bathroom. We had fun.
And
Good week.
I took him out to all my some of my favorite keto restaurants here in Phoenix. So
that's right.
If you've been following me on Instagram, my Facebook story as well, I've been posting all the food. And one of them he liked so much, he was like, "Can we go back tomorrow? I promise I'll be good."
Yeah, Phoenix has a lot of ketogenic restaurant options, and so we went and did that. So that was cool. And are we going to do that bakery or what? Maybe
well,
not.
if you're feeling up to it, we got to go right after we record this. We do this live, then we could.
There's like a keto bakery.
Yeah.
Keto
kitchen confections. Oh, that doesn't show up. Yeah, that doesn't show up. All right.
She's lying. It's just a blank card.
Just kind of like this. Yeah, and for me, I've been trying not to be too much of a killjoy for implementing keto.
No, she's been getting me in shape, man. She's been getting me going. What has it been, 8 days now on keto for me?
Yeah, 9. Today's day 9. Ooh. We've had a metabolic ward situation. I'll admit, I'm not really good at being a really good enforcer. So it's like, I do this, do that. But, if he does things off the rails, what am I going to do?
Yeah, we've been holed up in a metabolic ward. I'm Ward. She's June.
Oh, that's an old
reference. That reference?
That's an old one.
Yeah, that's a Leave It to Beaver reference for you.
Yeah, I think you're...
Boom, the only ketogenic podcast in America doing Leave It to Beaver references.
I think you're Wally. Or no, what was the neighbor kid that was the troublemaker?
Right?
It was Wally's friend.
Wally. God, that's a really good trivia
question. Wally.
That's a really good
Somebody watching
question.
is going to tell us who
was the neighbor?
The troublesome neighbor. I think that's Simon. This is backwards, so I keep pointing that way. Anyways. Yeah, so I've been touring him around, showing off all the keto places here, just showing him how to grind comedy out here in Phoenix, introducing him to everybody possible. So, and so just integrating keto into his full life. Eddie, yes, Eddie. There we go. I knew somebody watching would know.
Eddie. Okay.
You're Eddie, right?
I'm Eddie.
Nancy, do you think Simon's Eddie? I think he's Eddie.
I don't think you're ready for my Eddie.
All right. And Susan is chiming in. So she does do intermittent fasting. She does a 24 with 2 MAD. That's the first time I've heard that abbreviation, but I love that.
What's 2 MAD?
We'll cover that in a moment.
Like when you're
yeah,
not just a little mad?
It's when you miss carbs and you get really mad.
Really?
Too mad. No.
2 MAD.
Over a year. Awesome. Yes, Eddie was a troublemaker. I kind of think you got a little Eddie edge to you. Not,
What do you think, Nancy? Do I have an Eddie edge?
Should I tell folks about your past history of your fur coats and all that kind of stuff, or not all that? I won't tell all the secrets.
If you want.
If I want. Maybe in your 20s you were an Eddie. Now you're just a little more mellow.
No, I'm just an Ed. Just a horse who talks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anything else on the personal front? He's leaving back to, so the metabolic ward is ending and he's going, I'm sending him back on his own, taking the training wheels off. He's going back to Seattle tomorrow on his own. So wish him well.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. We got this.
Yeah.
Eddie is going to get on a jetty
and go.
But he's not going to eat spaghetti because that would not be like that.
Yeah.
That would not be
nice.
keto.
You should start a rap career.
That would not be keto jetty.
Yeah. You should start a rap career. That would be so great.
All right. So we have some articles. We have some stuff to talk about. The article. What's up?
We do.
What do we got?
So this is, look, we get a laughy today. That might be the first one and not from the taffy kind.
We're trying.
Laughy emoji. All right. I love all of those reacts. Thanks for support, everyone. So a topic that you've been asking me a lot of stuff about is testosterone in men. And so I've done some research for you. If you're not following Rob Wolf, I highly recommend his podcast, The Healthy Rebellion. Don't go there now. I'll share the link here and you guys can go listen to it later. But this is where my source is for this. I'm going to post it in the comments here so everybody can see it. If you're listening later, it's going to be in the show notes. So this comes from episode 78 of Rob Wolf's. Is that hard to say? Is that why people say
Rob
Wolf?
Wolf's?
Is that why people say woof instead of wolf?
I don't think people say that.
Okay.
I think only you.
You've never heard people call it a woof?
No.
Maybe that's a West Coast thing.
Is it?
All audience always backs me up here. People mispronounce wolf. They call it a woof.
A woof? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, look. Susan's lived in both Arizona and Seattle. She misses living in Arizona and not Seattle. I'm kind of with you right there too. So I was in Seattle 27 years, been in Arizona 1 year. Sorry, Simon.
Yeah, I think Seattle has better riots. If you're really into just rioting for no reason, I think really Seattle is what you want.
That's where it's at. Yeah. So it's about personal tastes and priorities is what you're saying, right? All right. So Rob's podcast, one of the questions that was on the episode, so episode 78, was what crashes testosterone. So
okay.
I listened, I took notes, and I'm here to share. And the reason we're talking about this is keto fixes a lot of men's experience of low testosterone. And so I'm going to cover the top things that Rob mentioned on his podcast that can affect testosterone in anyone. So actually women have a little bit of testosterone, men have a lot more. And so these things are all things that can impact it. And Seattle has better wine. That's probably true as well.
That's true.
Yeah. So things that can impact testosterone, sun exposure. What have I got here? Is that 11 different things? Sun exposure. So contrary to what most dermatologists want to tell you, that humans need sunlight to be healthy. We don't want to burn our skin, but having daily sun exposure is actually necessary for our health. And that's another thing in Seattle that's really hard to get. And frankly, it's one of the reasons that I moved to a further south state is that for me personally, family history of depression, and you have to do a lot of things to overcome the lack of sunshine in Seattle most of the time. So I was doing tanning 5 days a week, and I had a therapy light on my desk, and that was just enough to get by. So
you join a grunge band, smash guitars, shoot heroin, hang yourself, things you got to do in Seattle. But so does Arizona get a lot of sun? Don't answer that.
Don't.
Does Phoenix get a lot of sun?
Just like since I've lived here, out of 365 days, there've been about 1,000 days of sunshine so far. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Except for it rained, 2 days ago?
It did.
Back to the personal check-in. Simon got to see all of the weather while he was here.
All of it.
It rained, thunder and lightning storm. Power went out here, which is really scary when you depend on your IC. But he lived through it.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, So sun exposure. Number one, if you don't get enough sun exposure, your testosterone can be lower than it optimally can be otherwise. Inadequate sleep. Who knew? Humans need sleep. Did you know that?
No.
Okay. Stress. Extra stress is bad for your health. Also can lower testosterone. Are you stressed? Are you feeling stressed right now?
Yeah, you're poking me. No, I think it's been a stressful year for everyone.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if you read the news, but there was a pandemic thingy happening. Did you hear?
Oh, yeah. You're right. That kind of was stressful in a lot of different ways.
Pretty stressful, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, hypercaloric diet. Do you know what that means?
No.
The caloric. How about that?
That is from the root word for coloring book.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So if you put too many colors in your coloring book,
yes,
that will lower your testosterone.
When you're a hypercolorer.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes, that's it. Is that a problem for you?
Sometimes I get a little hyper with my coloring.
Okay. Another an alternate meaning of that word is extra calories, too many calories. Okay. So basically eating more than you need. And this is also called gaining weight. And so I suppose you're going to say people did that last year as well.
But that's not politically correct. We call it hypercaloric.
Yes.
You're looking a little hypercaloric. Are you doing okay?
Is this one of the things that your great aunt said? We talked about her last week.
We did?
Yeah. You said she lived long. We were talking.
Oh, my grandma.
Okay, your grandma. Yeah. We were
Yeah.
talking to Charlie about how she had all the things right back then with healthy fats and everything. So
no, she wasn't very hypercaloric.
Okay. All right. So hypercaloric, aka also increasing body fat. And so, those are two different things, but they're kind of the same thing, right? Like if you are eating more calories than your body needs, you're also increasing your body fat. And increasing body fat in men specifically causes some of the testosterone to be converted into estrogen. So basically, if you keep gaining body fat, you're going to turn into a woman.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're into and you want to do that, then we support you. It's
a very long road to get there that way. Anyways, we don't need I don't need to talk about that anymore.
Okay, moving along.
Yes. Hypocaloric diet. Okay, so now that you know what coloring book diet is, what do you think a hypocaloric diet is?
So like a hyphy coloring? No? It's probably too little calories.
Yes. Oh my God. You're so smart.
Thank you.
I can teach people things. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you can.
Long term.
You can.
Yes. So hypocaloric, specifically for somebody who is a normal body fat percentage. I can't wait to see how that's going to come out in the transcript. But for somebody who's a normal body fat percentage, and they're eating too little calories, it's going to also make their testosterone really low. So
I see.
Think of in starvation mode, right? Like the food, we've hit the dust bowl. There's no more food on the planet. You've already burned up all your body fat stores, and there's just not enough to eat in the world. It makes sense that your body's going to start reducing your.
When did this happen?
Sex hormones.
Carol, you're freaking me out. I didn't hear about this.
Isn't it coming in?
There's no more food in the world.
6 months. I think it's coming in 6 months.
Is that your doomsday prediction? Oh, that's great, guys. Tune in for tips and tips on keto and conspiracy theory doomsday predictions of zombie apocalypses.
I dated a guy, this is totally off topic, but I think it's kind of funny. I dated a guy like 10 years ago that he told me in 6 months the Dust Bowl was coming back. There'd be no more food available. We wouldn't be able to use money at all.
No.
And we dated for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I kept asking, like, when is that happening again? He kept saying 6 more months, six more months. So yeah. Anyways, I wish him well. I hope he's well.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have gone 6 more months yourself. Can we just be honest?
Probably.
You should have known at the beginning when he.
Yeah.
When he said the Queen of England was a lizard in a human suit. That's usually the time when you're like, and
then 8 babies, all that stuff. Yeah, I know. I gave it a good shot. Anyways, let's see.
Hypocaloric. You did give it a good shot, and we should be commended. You tried.
Hypocaloric Dust Bowl. So it's logical to kind of think of the body just kind of shutting down. So testosterone controls reproductive functions. And so it makes sense that if there's not enough food in the world, your body's in starvation mode, you have no more fat left on your body. Like, why would reproduction be on the table? So it makes sense that in that mode that your everything just starts to slow down. So
nobody wants to reproduce in a dust bowl.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Those cute little dust bunny babies. I wonder how many babies have been conceived in Burning Man. That's a dust bowl, right?
Probably a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to know why somebody's name is Dustin? Probably because they were conceived in Burning Man.
Okay, moving along. What else do we got? Xenoestrogens. What's that?
That's a fun one. Here's another vocabulary word for the day. Xenoestrogens. So those are exogenous estrogens. So things that you're taking into your body that have estrogen-like compounds in them. So this is one of the problems with like plastics and things. So BPA, have you heard of like how BPA is really bad and you shouldn't, drink things that have a plastic liner or something?
Oh, okay.
So that is considered a xenoestrogen, an exogenous, external to our body form of estrogen. Another one, flax seeds. Okay, so flax seeds contain plant estrogens, and so men should not consume anything like that. You don't need things that are going to promote more estrogen in your body. There was something yesterday on a menu that said it was a keto friendly thing. It had flaxseed in it. I said, don't eat that. Do not eat that.
What if you just chew a straw? Okay, that's a real question, Carol, because you'll chew on a straw.
Okay.
She laughed at me. She ridiculed me. I guess, they say there are no stupid questions. I guess that's not true. Can you get that from chewing a straw?
I mean, what do you hate turtles or something? Like, why do you even use straws anymore? Just use the compostable.
A turtle killed my mother. Like, what do you want from me?
Okay, it's time to get.
I hate turtles.
Got it.
No, I don't know.
I'm Inigo Monturtolo. You've killed my mother. I'm here to chew a straw in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Use the compostable ones, the paper ones, right? Like they just turn into paper in your mouth. Okay, no.
Okay. So it's not a problem if you eat a straw or chew a straw.
I don't know. I've never seen any research on that. I imagine that if you're not actually chewing it and swallowing it and digesting it, probably okay.
Sure.
I haven't seen research on how much.
So using a straw for cocaine use is fine then, according to you is that what your medical advice?
Do people actually do that? Like with a straw?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay,
I would never associate with anyone like that. So,
Okay,
all right, keep going.
All right, xenoestrogens. Stay away from those. Inflammation in your body. Inflammation suppresses all hormones. So testosterone, all the hormones. So various causes of inflammation. And a lot of these are really complex. Like it's not just one thing does one thing. So for example, lack of sleep increases stress hormones in the body. It increases inflammation, increases insulin, increases your age. It increases the amount of calories you intake. It increases your body fat storage. And so all of these interplay with each other. So it's not just one thing.
So does it work both ways? Does low testosterone lead to inflammation and vice versa?
No, it's so your body makes testosterone and these different inputs to it dictate how much it should make.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, so for example, worst case scenario, if you lost your testes,
really worst case scenario. I don't think there's a worser case scenario.
Your body would not be able to make testosterone, and it wouldn't mean that then
testosterone. Dude, look at the way you broke that word down. That makes sense. So that comes from your nuts or whatever, or is that the?
Yeah, you could also, so testosterone, the slang for it is nutosterone.
Is it? No?
That's a word on the street. I don't know.
What street? Sesame Street? Probably not. No. All right, keep going.
Almond Avenue, probably. So if your body is low in testosterone because you physically can't make it, again, the worst case scenario of not having your testes anymore, terrible accident, wood chopping axe accident or something like that, axe bar accident, I don't know. That's a reference to a future show you're going to be on. But you got a gig at an axe throwing place, right?
I did. I am performing in an axe throwing bar, but
just make sure you wear a cup.
I will. Yeah. Now that you've mentioned it, I will wear a cup. Thank you, Carol, for looking after my testicles in such a caring and compassionate way.
Yes.
With such gentleness and forthright. Thank you.
I don't know what kind of protective gear they make you wear at this bar, but hopefully I wear.
Yeah, exactly.
Chainmail gloves and a cup. Anyways, so if your body can't make testosterone, it predisposes you to a lot of other health issues and things like that. As a man, but it's not gonna. So, for example, low testosterone doesn't make inflammation. Low testosterone doesn't make your insulin high.
Okay.
Low testosterone doesn't increase stress hormones.
Okay.
So these are all things that can lead to decreased testosterone in your body when it can potentially make its own.
Okay.
So inflammation, high insulin. So this one also goes back to when you're on a hypercaloric diet, not hypercoloring diet, but hypercaloric, too many calories, increasing body fat. That will also cause your insulin to be high. And that's a kind of a feedback loop as well, because high insulin will cause increased inflammation and also storage of body fat. So that's one of the ones that I look at. That one of the tests I'm going to have my clients do is get their insulin tested, and we can see where things. So insulin level, when it's really high, we have a really good idea that your body's in body fat storage, inflammation is really high. and that can be a primary driver of lowering testosterone. So
I see.
let's get that low first. A ketogenic diet is one of the most powerful ways at getting insulin healthy, low, normal level, and then we can remove that as part of the equation, right? So you're going to do a differential diagnosis of trying to figure out the root cause. So making sure you get some sun exposure, making sure you're getting adequate sleep.
Yep.
You're doing relaxation techniques like meditation to reduce stress. Looking at insulin as well to find out, is that high? And then helping get your body fat percentage to come back down to a normal, low, healthy level. Okay. So this is the process of finding out what's causing the low testosterone, if that's true. So on Rob's podcast, he also talked about if you're going to check for testosterone, the test that your primary doctor usually is going to get is just total testosterone. And he says that's kind of meaningless to have that one thing. So if you're going to test this, you want to get a full hormone panel, total testosterone, free T, estrogen, estradiol, and sex hormone binding globulin. Easy for me to say, right? So that's what's going to give you a full picture. And then you're going to want to see a functional medicine doctor that can interpret all those things. Functional medicine doctor is also going to be looking at the root cause instead of just like slapping a prescription on you or something like that too. So is that more than you wanted to know about
free
that?
tea?
Free the tea.
Free the tea.
That means
free
something
tea.
else, but yeah, free tea for everyone.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Is that
was
satisfactory?
informative.
Did we lose all our ladies watching?
I know,
listening?
like half the audience are women, and we're talking about testosterone. It's like, next we're going to talk about motocross racing. All right.
Well, but this applies. Okay, so everything I just said about testosterone also applies to female hormones. Okay, so there isn't anything there that's like, oh, that's just men. Okay, so except for the testes, but women have testes. They're just inside of our body instead of outside. They're called ovaries, but tomato, right? And so
what's the difference?
Yeah. So women's symptoms of low testosterone, we didn't talk about men's symptoms, but women's hormonal imbalances are going to be things like PCOS and PMS symptoms, reproductive issues, of infertility, and all of those overlap with the things we just talked about,
like sleep and stress and insulin. Okay, got you.
Exactly.
Right.
You're getting this. Yes.
Well, I'm pretty smart.
You are.
Okay.
I'm so impressed.
So now we're into the fasting.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting, which I think, isn't that when you shove food in your mitten and eat it fast when no one's looking?
Yes, that's exactly the topic we're going to talk about. I tricked you all. I told you we're going to talk about intermittent fasting, and we're actually talking about stuffing food in your mitten.
Yes.
In the cold of winter to have a snack as you're waiting for the bus. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you shove it in your mitten and you're just really fast when no one's looking.
Is that what they do in Seattle?
I do that everywhere.
Okay. No, just kidding. Intermittent fasting. Also,
what is a mittent? Brings up
that's
a
good
good
question.
point. What is a mittent?
That's kind of when people say like, oh, you should behave. Well, what's a have? Right? Like that's one of those dad jokes, right?
Ooh.
What's a mittent?
What is a mittent?
If we're going to enter it, what we need to know what a mittent is.
How do you enter it if you don't know what a mittent is? Never mind. Okay.
All right.
So do you believe in IF? You believe in it?
That's so funny. I love you ask that because that's exactly almost every new client that comes on board with me. They phrase it like that. Do you believe in intermittent fasting? It's like, well, it's kind of like asking, like, do you believe in the sun?
Do you believe in magic?
Do you believe in doing a sun salutation in the morning by yoga? Do I believe in magic?
Do you believe in magic?
Here's the dance portion of the episode.
And now, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, do you believe in it?
Well, it's a thing, right? So it's not a matter of me believing in it or not. I'm going to break down what it is, the truth is about it, the pros and the cons, and then give you my recommendation. So it's not a matter.
All right.
The semantics with that question kind of make me laugh or drive me nuts, a pet peeve, because it's like, it is a thing. It's so when people ask if I believe in it, it's like, do I believe that Simon's shirt is brown? It is. I don't know if that's.
Do you believe in angels? Sorry.
Okay. Is this a Chris Angel? You mentioned magic and angels now.
Okay.
What else?
Well,
Should we talk about chemtrails next too?
That's hilarious.
All right.
Keto conspiracies. Next on, is it true that non-fat people are trying to control the world? No.
I think it's, anyways, I was going to say it might be overweight people. That maybe it's a mix. Anyways.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting is just a current trendy phrase that somebody who's great at marketing came up with. Okay. We didn't talk about intermittent fasting when we were growing up, right? What do we call it?
What do we call it?
Yeah.
Starvation.
Yeah. Skipping breakfast.
Yeah.
You forgot.
Poverty.
You got up late and you had to run to the bus.
Sure.
You forgot to bring money for lunch, so you skipped a meal.
Yeah.
Also, back in the day, we didn't eat 14 times a day. You had 3 squares a day, and like I said, if you got up late, missed the bus, maybe you didn't get breakfast. If you're a bad kid, you didn't get to have dinner, right? Did you ever have that happen?
Maybe. I was such a good kid, so I wouldn't know.
Eddie.
I was
Eddie.
I was just such a model citizen for the neighborhood. So
You always got 2 dinners.
Yeah.
All right. So intermittent fasting is just a current trendy phrase. It's not something that's new. And so for those of you that are unfamiliar with what it is, it means you're limiting the number of hours that you're eating and or at the same time increasing the number of hours you're not eating. And so like Sue said at the beginning, Susan, I'll put her thing back up here now, is that typically people designate what looks like a ratio. They might say 18:6 or a 20:4. And basically what that means is that, so for Susan, it means she's going 20 hours without eating, and that she only eats within a 4-hour window every day. So that's what's called a 24 intermittent fasting. And so that's what's the new trend, is that somebody put some stuff out there that said, like, you need to come up with these very specific numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
The OMAD, which is one that I've heard used before, OMAD means 1 meal a day. Susan's on a 2 meal a day. That's the 2MAD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before, so that's a fun phrase. New phrase for the show. So 2MAD, 2 meals a day. And hopefully she's not too mad about that.
Don't be, yeah.
That's terrible.
That was good.
And so that's the new trend of it, is this putting some kind of a limit on it. And
You say pudding? Sorry.
pudding. Are you hungry?
So can you do pudding? Is there a pudding intermittent fast? All right, no, keep going.
My son's very favorite keto pudding is mayonnaise.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrific.
You get 2 sides.
Who raised this kid? Who raised you?
He takes after his grandmother. She loved mayonnaise, actually. So I wasn't, but he literally would take mayonnaise and, here's a fun little story. One of his first dates with his current girlfriend, I think it was her. Hopefully it was her. He invited her over to have dinner, and so she asked, "What are you going to have?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just going to have a bowl of this. I think it was like ground beef or pulled pork or something like that, with mayonnaise on it." And she was like, "Really? That's what you're going to have as a meal?" And so he literally, it was like little scoop of meat, about a cup of mayonnaise, and he put hot sauce on the top of it. And she says that she just got so grossed out that
that's the last date.
They've been together like 5 years, so
really?
Yeah, she puts up with a lot, I guess. I don't know.
I guess that can end a relationship.
Yep. Yeah, mayonnaise and hot sauce, one of his favorites. All right, so I can tell you're extra hungry because right before we started, I told him he couldn't eat.
I know.
I'm trying to get him into ketosis. So
she's trying to be an OMAD.
Yeah, I'm like, I got 1 night left to force him into ketosis.
We're forcing this into keto. Yeah, we're doing it.
I'm going to shove the fat into him tonight, and that sounds bad.
That sounds
consensually.
That sounds like a fun time. That sounds like a wild time.
Oh wait, we got some work. No, we still have that. Okay. All right. So basically intermittent fasting is being intentional, mindful of when you're eating and not eating. And most of the people that are doing it are putting some kind of a time limit on it. So for example, for Susan, with her 4 hours a day that she's eating between, maybe she has her first meal at 2 p.m. and then she has her last meal at 6 p.m. And so that's how she's getting her 2 MAD in, is 4 hours between the 2 meals she's having.
Got it.
And so one of the pitfalls of intermittent fasting, which you often will see abbreviated as IF, is that there's a whole group out there outside of keto that kind of promotes it as, well, you can just do intermittent fasting. You can eat anything you want. If you just limit the number of hours, you'll lose all the weight you need. You'll be perfectly healthy. I'm here to tell you that for a lot of people that won't work. But we'll get into that in the pros and cons. Or is that next? I don't know. So for Susan doing it in keto way, it's eating, her 2 meals a day within those 4 hours, and keeping on her keto macros, and that can be really effective. So I'm going to share in a minute here the pros and cons of doing this in a keto context, but also otherwise. So I forever I never ate breakfast. I wasn't hungry for it. I also knew that pre-keto, if I ate a high carb meal for breakfast, like typical breakfast foods, I would feel terrible. I would feel sleepy. My brain would kind of just want to take a nap. And so I avoided breakfast for those reasons, because I wasn't hungry, and also breakfast foods made me feel terrible. So I often would only eat lunch and dinner. And I'll tell you, I could gain all the weight in the world, eating anything I wanted within those parameters. So intermittent fasting alone is not going to be enough to help people be lean and healthy, achieve optimal body fat, body weight, and also heal their health issues. So, see, I guessed right. Her eating window is 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Nice.
Yeah. Look at me.
Look at
you. I must know what I'm doing.
Man, I tell you.
Do you have an eating window? Have you ever tried intermittent fasting? Or
usually the McDonald's drive-thru is my eating window. They'll open the window and hand out the bag, and then I'll say thanks, and I'll drive away.
So I
call it my eating window.
Are you on a 3 MAD a day, 3 drive-through windows a day?
Yeah, no, I don't eat fast food. Okay. No, I mean, I've done intermittent fasting. 2 to 4 works good.
Okay.
2 to 6 or noon to 4. That works for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All
but
right.
not always.
Okay.
It's harder when you're hungover. You notice that? It's hard to
No, I don't ever experience.
You know what I mean?
So
Because when you wake, of course not. When you wake up hungover and you're like, oh, I need some food. It's harder to wait until 2 p.m. to eat.
Do you know why that is? Well, let's go
Because you're
back.
hungover.
Well, so
you've been drinking.
Lack of sleep increases your stress hormones. One of those is cortisol. That makes you hungrier, makes your body want to gain more fat, increases inflammation, and increases your insulin.
Oh, so it's not the alcohol's fault. That's good.
No, not by the next day. It's not. It's because alcohol interfered with your ability to get quality sleep. So
got it.
It's not the hangover. It's the kind of anyway. So,
all right.
So you're saying you're not going to skip breakfast when you're hungover?
It's harder to. Is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So pros or cons? Should we start with the pros or cons first of intermittent fasting?
Pros. Yeah.
Does that mean we should
start with the pros?
The pros we're paying for people to do that, or
what do you mean?
The pros, the paid professionals, pros.
Pros. No,
right, never mind. Never mind. The pros of intermittent fasting. Okay, so if you're not intermittent fasting, people eat too much all the time. Okay, again, back when I was growing up, probably when you were too, you ate 3 meals a day, and you couldn't snack before dinner because you're going to spoil your appetite, right? Did you hear that growing up?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've just been conditioned and trained over the last 40 years that we should eat all the time. You need snacks. We start now young with little kids, giving them juice and snacks, and we just eat all the time. We need to take breaks from eating. We don't need to eat all the time. You don't need to eat many hours. You don't need to eat as much. So intermittent fasting gives you more structure to eating, and it can help you eat a lot less. And for most people that do practice intermittent fasting, it's going to reduce the number of hours you're eating, which then lowers your calorie intake, your food intake, and therefore it can reduce your overall insulin, lower blood glucose and A1C, and can promote some normalization of body fat percentage.
Yes. And A1C is that steak sauce, right?
Yes, for your coloring, your hypercaloric coloring book. Yeah.
Good. So then what are the cons?
Most people don't know why they're doing it. They just saw some trend. It's kind of like most vitamins that people take. They're just like, oh, I heard it was good for me. Why should I do it? And then they'll follow up and ask questions like, well, do you believe in intermittent fasting? Does bulletproof coffee break a fast? And so I always have to ask them, well, what's your goal with intermittent fasting? And they'll say, I don't know. I just heard it was good for me. So I would say do it with the goal and an intention of knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it. Because it is just a clever marketing, a trendy phrase right now. And a lot of people are promoting it as a way of like, you can just eat this way and eat whatever you want, and you don't have to actually be more intentional with your food. So it can be give people false hope about not having to change actually what you're eating.
Got it.
You can't do 2 MAD at the McDonald's window a day, probably.
No,
and
probably not.
Yeah.
But you also can't be too mad when they're handing you fries and a shake.
Not when you do it, but like 5 minutes after you've eaten it, you're going to be really mad with yourself. So
yeah, and hate yourself.
So
okay, keep going.
Instead of 2 MAD, it's going to be extra mad.
Yeah, you're going to just loathe yourself. All right.
Yeah. So eating only once or twice a day, independent of the type of food, for most people are not going to be enough to actually lose weight or gain optimal health. So it's false promise. And also, most people think that these specific eating windows, so like 18-6 or 20:4, insert colon joke. All right. That like there's some magic to that, right? Like that if they stick within that period of time, that's where the magic happens. But if they eat a different number than that, then somehow it breaks everything and it ruins it. But the truth is there's no research that shows that any of those numbers or specific windows work better than having a 5-hour window or an 8-hour window. So it's also just kind of false marketing. And I'm also, for my clients, I'm not a big fan of creating these external eating rules. I find that my clients do best when they're eating intuitively. And also there's times when your body's hungrier and it needs more food, and there's times when it's less hungry, right? So for example, if you're sticking, and so Susan's already said that this works really well. She works, it eats well. It fits well for her. She feels really good. So this isn't, Susan, to pick on you, but I'm going to use your window just as an example of, for some people, how this may not work. So for example, what if you wake up one morning and you're so starving, but you're like, no, I can't eat till 2 because I'm doing intermittent fasting.
Suffer.
You suffer.
Yeah. You just suffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or, then, but what if you end up like so hungry you go through the 2 MAD drive-through and
then you suffer more.
Yes. So I'm all about reducing suffering for my clients. So sometimes you wake up and you're hungry and you want to eat breakfast, cool, and you may not eat lunch or dinner. And also it's not convex. What is it? The contrast of that is that, let's say you've decided you're having, first meal at 2 and second meal at 6. What if you get to 2 o'clock and you're not hungry, but you're like, well, this is my window, I better eat. There are times when you shouldn't eat if you're not hungry, and your body is burning its own fat, and there may be a lot of other reasons why you shouldn't eat by external clock time. So I'm much more of a fan of eat when you're hungry, don't eat if you're not, and avoid these external rules of I can only eat at this time and this time. We might as well go into my recommendations now. Are you ready for that?
Let's do this.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Once you're in ketosis, follow your appetite. I think I've said that already, hinted about that.
Yep.
Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat if you're not hungry.
Done.
Unless Carol says you can't have cheese before the podcast.
Then you don't eat. When Carol says no, it's no.
Oh, I paid a lot for this metabolic ward, so it's been very expensive. I'm trying to promise the results by the end of this. Anyways, recommendation number 2 is to eliminate snacking as soon as possible. Again, once you're in ketosis, this should become very easy. So, 3 or 2 meals a day, that's where most of my clients end up. And so eliminate snacking as soon as possible. Also, number 3, bulletproof coffee, high-fat coffee. What else are the names for that? Fatty coffee. That is not fasting. So while it doesn't cause an insulin spike, your body can store fat calories independent of insulin. It's very easy for those fat stores to fill back up by drinking high-fat coffee. And so If your goal is to optimize your fat loss by intermittent fasting, drinking bulletproof coffee counts as a meal. So you're not fasting there. So Susan's saying, you can always target your intermittent fasting window as an average for the week. Some days longer, some shorter. The Zero app will give you that average.
Okay.
Sounds complicated.
Sounds like there's an app for that.
Yeah. Yes, of course there is.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 4. Oh, that's not a 4. What is wrong with me? Most of my clients end up at 2 or 3 meals a day, which most people find is congruent with optimal health and body fat and body weight. Number 5, when eliminating 1 or more meals a day, you want to ensure that you're eating adequate protein. So when you start skipping 1 meal a day or more, it ends up being a lot more challenging to get enough protein in your day. So if you are going to skip 1 meal, if you're going to go to 1 meal a day, you need to very conscientiously ensure that you're getting adequate protein at that 1 or 2 meals.
Okay.
So don't undereat protein. So that's why I'm going to weigh off like a giant skirt steak. I'm forcing him to eat it for dinner. Adequate protein. Yeah.
Forcing me to eat a steak.
Yes. And number 6, then often people ask like, which is better? Should I go for 2 meals? Should I have 3? Should I do 1? And again, there's kind of 2 different scenarios I've seen where, for the most part, I want people to just follow their appetite. If you're hungry for 3 meals a day, have 3 meals a day. If you're not hungry for 3, just have 2, and that works really well. Sometimes, though, there is an intentional reason. If somebody's eating 3 meals, I can't do numbers today. If somebody's eating 3 meals a day, there may be occasions where I want them to try to get down to 2. Things like a psychological attachment to like, I want to eat 3 times a day, and I'm afraid if I skip a meal, I'm going to be extra hungry, but their weight has plateaued. And maybe this is a way of kind of breaking that psychological attachment to that meal that they don't need, they're not hungry for. Also, it can be a way of, if people need additional lowering of insulin, or their A1C is kind of stubborn and stuck, even though they're doing 3 meals a day, trying to get to that 2 meals a day can give them an extra boost of healing.
I'll be right back.
Oh no, I don't know what's happening here. Okay, so Susan is saying I double my protein with my Asian chopped chicken salad every day for lunch, and awesome. And then Fat to Fit Gabby's joined us here. So can I start off my keto journey eating 30 grams of total carbs and be in ketosis? That good question. I don't know if you can or not. So I recommend for my clients that they all start at 20 total grams of carbs. That gets 90% of people in there. So it just depends. And, I start much lower than that for my clients, and some people can do 30 grams of total carbs and be in ketosis, but that's going to take some, testing. And, if you want to slowly get to ketosis, a higher carb amount will result that, but why not get there? I find that for best quality of life and least distress, that getting there as fast as possible is going to give people the best results and the best experience with trying to go keto too. So, okay, so that covers the recommendations about, should we do 2 meals or 3 meals a day? Fat to Fit Gabby's got another question here about what are your thoughts on consuming sucralose sweetened drinks and foods like sparkling ice water and G. Hughes barbecue sauce? Actually, let's see. If you missed us back the other episodes, Gabby, I covered sweeteners in episode 6. And so I would recommend going back and listening to that one. And that's where I talk about the sweeteners and things like that too. So this topic, I know you joined us late. So this is about intermittent fasting and some other things that we've been talking about too. So,
but we did cover it for you.
Yes,
so.
yes.
We cover everything.
Yes. All right. So, okay, Susan, I have a higher, you know what? We missed Sue Butterfly didn't join us today. I don't know what's going on. I hope she's okay. Susan, I have a higher carb tolerance. I can eat 30 to 35 net carbs a day, but I test my blood glucose and ketones every day. Yeah. And I found that, typically 18 to 24 months consecutively on very, very low carbohydrate, 20 grams or total helps people get back some metabolic flexibility. They have a higher carb tolerance. Just depending on your starting metabolic health and how active you are will also determine how many grams of carbs you can consume.
Nice.
Consistently following, strict keto, I find that I can do about 40 total grams of carbs a day and stay in ketosis. But it also depends on what else is going on too. So,
okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions about intermittent fasting?
Do you believe in it? No. Should I do it?
Do you believe in intermittent fasting?
I do believe. I do.
Every time Simon believes in fasting, an angel gets a bell.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
I don't know.
That's so silly. All right.
Okay.
Any other fasting questions? Intermittent fasting? Well, this isn't a full fasting episode, but we should talk about that later too. Hey, next week, guess what we're going to talk about next week?
What are we going to talk about next week, Keto Carol?
The secret to supercharging your willpower in social situations.
Oh, that's important. Your willpower. You don't wanna mess up.
Yeah, we survived social situations this whole week, but I think it was a group effort, right?
Yeah. Can you supercharge a willpower if you don't have one? Is that? No?
It's if you stop at a Tesla supercharging station.
That's good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yes.
So that's cool. All right. So I think that's important though.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Willpower when you're doing anything like this, that's not easy.
Yeah, because you can nail down how many carbs you need and how many hours you should fast, but if you don't have the psychological support and social support and all that, it doesn't matter.
So that's important. Okay, I'm down.
Sure.
All right. Well,
For
I'll
sure.
be there.
Yay! We have one loyal follower.
Yay.
All right. So today we talked all about intermittent fasting, the pros and the cons. What is it? Do I believe in it? Simon believes now.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Love it.
Last bit there is for you.
The last bit's for me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everyone, leave a review if you like the show. Give us a shout out. It'll help us grow. Tell your friends if you have friends that are suffering and looking for some help with some weight loss or energy or any of those types of things. Join the Keto Chat Live revolution. Yeah. Making it happen.
And our catchphrase, our tagline for this show is help us grow and we'll help you shrink.
Yeah, that's right.
Susan's wishing you a happy last night in Arizona.
Yes, we will.
Yeah,
I will. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening, and reading. We've got transcripts coming as well. So thank you, everyone, for your support, and we'll see you all next time.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.